Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Racecourse, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning. Welcome to Racing Across, well, as I said earlier, Racing Across North America, typically Racing Across America, but we are live from Woodbine and happy to be here. We always get treated great up here, and there's always some great racing. Typically, the years back, we went to the Queen's Plate, which was in June then. Now it's King's Plate during the Saratoga meet, so we can't get up, but we're happy to be up now shortly after the Saratoga meet for a great Woodbine mile card that includes some nice undercard stakes races as well. A number of those races will be part of that international pick 5, which is going to be a lot of fun and include the St. Ledger and the Irish Champion. So it's a fun day. And as I say, we're happy to be up here at Woodbine and happy to be joined now to kick off the show. Just met him yesterday, but we said, come on, sit in with us. From Sky Sports over in Europe, it's Luke Elder. Luke, good morning.
Good morning. I've got the misfortune of being Peter Fornatel's colleague, but you know, we'll try and raise the game from that. At least the English accent is a bit more authentic.
Pete said, "Don't bring up the NFL with you. Well, you'll never say." And I said,
well, yeah,
"I like the fact. I like the fact that you're a guy who knows what football is. Football with you means football."
Football with me means North American football. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I still don't call it soccer. Just don't do that. That's just not a good thing to do. But no, we got a podcast on NFL and North American horse racing as well. Turf and Touchdowns. Go do that. But look, it's something that's close to my heart. Horse racing and American football. They're both top tier stuff.
I like that. So you are a fan.
Yeah, I'm a Seahawks fan for my sins. I'm still not over week 1. We're not going to talk about that. Any loss to the San Francisco 49ers is a bad time.
Well, I'm a lifelong Jets fan, so
I'm sorry for your loss.
I used to have a poster of Joe Namath that maybe before you're done, up in my bedroom, and that they had one with Joe Namath. They had a good season, but it's been a struggle since. So we'll shift attention now that I've gone to the Jets. We'll shift attention back to horse racing. And again, why don't we talk a little bit about the two actual international races? Again, it's a fun pick 5 today, going over St. Ledger and Irish Champion with the 3 Grade 1s here at Woodbine. Tell people to go take a look, but we'll get the expert here from Europe and get some thoughts on the St. Ledger. We were talking a little bit earlier about it with Pete. Scandinavia, certainly from Aidan O'Brien, is logical, but also third leg of their Triple Crown, 1 mile and 13/16 for the Grade 1 event. What did you see? Anything beyond Scandinavian?
Yeah, I think his price is leveling out a little bit. I mean, looking at the back home prices right now, he's about 9-4, which is probably more realistic. He was a little bit shorter earlier on. He's become a more attractive price. Obviously, the big factor is no Ryan Moore. He's not around. So Tom Marquander's taken over. Wouldn't ride too much for Ballydoyle, but you kind of have to take the good jockeys when they're around, when Ryan isn't available. I was honestly a little surprised at his latest effort. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be when he managed to win at Goodwood. This obviously represents a totally different challenge, but he's beaten the older horses. Now he's got to go and beat the Derby winner in the form of Lambourne. Karmas has done very little wrong so far. I know he was beaten at York last time around, but he was very good at Royal Ascot. I don't necessarily think that, I didn't think at the time anyway, that was the strongest of Royal Ascot races, but I do think it is between the first 3 in the market. The price, honestly, is pushing me a little bit more towards Scandinavia. My first thought was Karmas. I'm just a little worried about Lambourne, honestly. He was not an unknown, but he was a little unthought of going into the Derby. Managed to win it well. Last time around was a little underwhelming for his standards. Yeah. But in this sort of task, you can't beat a real true stayer.
And I said it earlier, that demonstrating the difference between racing over there and racing over here. Stay true. 4th start of the career, 1 mile and 13/16 for Aidan O'Brien. It's hard to believe in September, 4th start of the career, and stretching out like that. Something you don't see over here.
No, well, the breeding system's obviously quite different from North America to England. England and Europe in general, to be fair, we are going a little bit more towards cheap speed and towards sprinters, but there is still a real demand for middle distance horses, or you guys would call them stayers over here. But he's by Galileo. Interesting stat. This horse is going to be the final progeny of Galileo to ever run in a Triple Crown race.
Oh.
So it'll be a really cool story. Obviously, with Galileo not around anymore, it'll be a real cool story if he were to, at the very least, run a big race.
So again, that's the St. Leger, which will go off our time at about 10:40. Also part of the sequence that'll go off at about 12:30 is the Irish champion from Leopardstown. And in here, Delacroix is the favorite from Aidan O'Brien, Christophe Soumillon on board. Shin Emperor, I thought, was maybe a little bit interesting. The recent form isn't as good as maybe if you go back a little bit. But what were your thoughts in the Irish champion?
Yeah, Anmar is the older horse who is a little more proven than a few of the younger horses, but that's not the younger horses' problem. They've taken everything they possibly could. The thing about Anmar, I think he's a sort of horse that might peak once or twice a year. This does look the ideal sort of race for him, but Irish Champion Stakes in recent seasons have got real messy, where you go to the front and you stay there effectively. And the Ballydoyle contingent, they will try and make this a tactical race. That's the reason that John Gosden didn't send Ombudsman over, because they've got Mount Kilimanjaro in here. I think John Gosden was expecting them to maybe put one or two more horses in here. At that point, you put a horse in front, you put a horse wider, maybe another horse wider, and say go round us, which at Leopardstown is hard to do. But look, Anmar is a very good horse. It's just whether he can beat the younger legs of Delacroix. Delacroix has been very good all season. You take out the Derby effort where he didn't like the track, he didn't handle things perfectly, and he was hampered in the early part of the race. But Christophe Soumillon taking the ride, who we know very well here in North America. Yeah. The reason, obviously, Tom Markland is riding Scandinavia in the St. Leger and Sean Levy stepping in for Lambourne is because Christophe Soumillon is here. You would think that there would have been some sort of choice anyway about which way he wants to go. He's come to Leopardstown, and for all that Delacroix, he does need to do a bit more. I think he is the horse to beat in here.
Finished second on the aforementioned Ombudsman last time, which is kind of a feather in the cap. Have they said where Ombudsman may go?
I believe the thought is Breeders' Cup.
That's right.
I think he's coming towards the Breeders' Cup turf, which would be interesting because Rebels Romance, I mean, he's basically a North American horse with stuff that he does. Like, he'll go here, there, and everywhere. So it wouldn't be a surprise if Godolphin had the first two in the market for the Breeders' Cup turf. I think anti-post markets back home, it's kind of looking that way. But John Gosden's brilliant when he sends one abroad, isn't he? We know in Breeders' Cups in years gone by, even at North American meetings outside of the Breeders' Cup, he will never send the wrong horse for a race.
We'll look for him. Obviously, one of the top runners over there in Europe. And speaking of top runners and top conditioners, let's shift our attention now to Woodbine and the Woodbine Mile. Notable speech. First, as I say, you're from Sky Sports. For people who aren't familiar, just talk a little bit about Sky Sports.
Yeah, Sky Sports. We're based in London. If you're a rugby fan in any way, or there's been NFL games played there, we're about 15 minutes from Twickenham Stadium, which, as I say, has hosted a few international series games. We cover, if there's racing, we cover it effectively. Yeah. We'll start in the morning with Australian racing. We'll move on to the domestic action over in England, Scotland, Wales. We'll cover French racing. We have a big contingent on a show called Stateside Live, which is what Woodbine will be on this evening. But we'll be live on track for the first time here at Woodbine, myself and Peter von Natal, throughout the entirety of the card, from race one right through to the end. And hopefully we'll find a few winners on the card as well. But it always just spices things up a little bit to get a European horse in amongst the North Americans.
Yeah.
I don't know, how do you guys find that when Europeans come over?
I'll say this. 10 years ago, if there was a European in a turf race anywhere, I would go to it. I think the last 5 years or so, I'm a little more skeptical maybe of them having the kind of dominance they used to. And I don't know, part of that I think is our owners are now going over and purchasing at the European auctions and bringing horses back.
Well, the prices in England maybe aren't as much because our prize money is terrible. Like, if you ever want to scare, just go look at how much money we run full prize money wise. And you can bring horses back over. I mean, I was at the Breeders' Cup when Newspaper of Record won the Juvenile Fillies turf, and she was fantastic. She was bought out, I think, book one, Newmarket. So she is an English horse that was bought over effectively. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. Chad Brown's doing it a lot. I know Woodbine hasn't been his happiest place, but yeah, it's it's a place where you're coming and grabbing our horses, but it's going well.
Yeah, we talked about earlier Wild Pansy coming up, one of the stakes a little bit later on. Mike Rapoli bought that at auction over in Europe in December for just under $500,000. So that plays into it a lot. But as I say, I'm not quite as on board, although it's hard not to be on board. Notable speech in the Woodbine Mile, Charlie Appleby, and we mentioned earlier, Appleby won down at Saratoga, won the Sword Dancer this year. Now comes up with notable speech in the Woodbine Mile, who will take a lot of action, and deservedly so. I pulled up a replay of the last race at Deauville, and you can see a big flying late run from Notable Speech. Going to take a lot of action. What are your thoughts on Notable Speech in the Woodbine Mile?
I'd be shocked if he got beat.
Yeah.
He's going to be a short price, don't get me wrong. The morning line's got him at 8 to 5. If he was available at that price, I'd be going crazy with it. But back home, he's about 1 to 2, 4 to 7. So we're probably looking at that kind of price. I think he'll go off shorter, honestly. I think he'll be about 1 to 3. But he's the best horse in here by quite some way. Even if you take out his European form, the run at Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup was a very good run, finishing back in third. It was a race that set up for closers. I don't think he did a great deal wrong. The miles in England this year, they've been a bit of a mixed bag, and people are not getting frustrated with them, but they're just hard to predict because you don't know who's going to turn up and have their day. Rosalien is a horse that is very good over in Europe, but just hasn't managed to get the head in front and hasn't managed to win in recent starts. But he maintains a high level of form. And look, Notable Speech, he's been in and amongst those. He should have won last time, really. He just had a troubled passage through.
Crazy run on the inside.
Exactly that. That is the concern for today. Maybe from box 2, William Buick just gets caught in a bit of a pocket. But I interviewed the guys at Team Godolphin yesterday. Colm O'Donoghue, who's been riding him out, I think at home and also over here. They're super confident surrounding him. And I think it's just one of those horses that if you're playing a pick 5, if you're playing on the international scene, I think you can single him with utmost confidence.
I went with Win for the Money, but I have Notable Speech run underneath, and I may be crazy to take the shot with, but it's last year's champion, and I said earlier I'm kind of a homer, and he's coming in off of 2 races at Saratoga. So
yeah, look,
I like that.
He's got a chance. I interviewed Kevin Attard as well yesterday, and he was quite keen on the chances of Gas Me Up to run a big race, who will need to do more. Honestly, they would have their chances if Notable Speech wasn't here. But like I say, if Notable Speech doesn't win, it's either a case that he's got locked up on the inside and had nowhere to go, or that he's just underperformed in a massive way, which obviously we hope doesn't happen.
But it's always possible.
It's exactly.
Horse racing,
you've got to load him into the gate to find out.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, if you're spreading in some of the other races, Notable Speech probably is a legitimate single in some of your plays. All right, let's go a little earlier because there are some Europeans in the 2-year-old races as well. We'll take a look at the summer for the 2-year-old males. And first up, let's hit on Wild Desert for Charlie Appleby. Comes in with only 3 races under the belt, but has been running well over in Europe. William Buick is in, obviously, for the ride, also in the Woodbine Mile, but on board Wild Desert. What are your thoughts on that one in the summer?
Yeah, I think he's a favourite. There's a friend of mine over in England called Kevin O'Malley, and he came up with the best word possible that is completely made up, but you can use it. If there's a favourite that you don't like, they're take-onable. And I think Wild Desert is take-onable in this contest.
I'm stealing that.
Spread it far and wide. It's a fantastic word. I use it all the time. If you say it with confidence as well, people will believe it's a word. That's the main thing. That's my mantra for broadcasting. If you say it with confidence, people won't question it. But I do think Wild Desert is take-onable. Look, last time around in the Superlative, it wasn't a bad run at all. Probably should have been second. Was hampered a touch late on in the piece. But I get the feeling that Charlie Appleby in recent years uses Woodbine as kind of a feeler, as kind of to see where he is with maybe the better horses back home to bring over towards the Breeders' Cup. Not many horses he would run here and then even run at the Breeders' Cup, let alone win at the Breeders' Cup. I know Mysterious Knight won here a few years ago. He had a setback before the Breeders' Cup. But even he wasn't the main choice that year. There were 1 or 2 others. It might have been the Modern Games year around that sort of time. But I do think that this is an open race, and for all that Wild Desert will take plenty of support at the top of the betting, I think this is a horse that you can oppose.
Let's take a look at the other Euro, and I pulled up a replay going back to the Churchill at Tipperary. It's the Secret Adversary. Again, 4 starts, a win, which we're going to see, and 3 seconds. So a horse with some good form. What are your thoughts on the Secret Adversary, who gets Frankie Dettori on board?
Yeah, big positive, isn't it, getting Frankie on board? He's a beautiful horse as well. You won't miss him. He's got a beautiful white face. He's flashy. And he's ran at Royal Ascot as well. That's something that almost nobody else on this card, obviously Notable Speech is included, can brag about. But he ran in the Chesham, which was one of the 2-year-old races at Royal Ascot, which I don't think was the strongest, honestly. He finished behind Humidity, who has run well. He ran in, it was a 4-way go at Sandown the other day, and he just came out short of a head bob, but he was in front before and after the line. I just don't know whether his form really matches up to be out-and-out group or grade 1 classes, depending which side of the ocean you are. The effort last time around was good. He beat Brussels, who's a solid horse, and he is a horse that I am including in my pick 5s and exotic bets over here. I don't see him out of the 3. My biggest concern is that last time around in the Churchill, he did just look to hang a little bit, which on the tighter track, on the inner track here, that might be a little bit more of a concern. If we were on the EP Taylor track, I would have far less concern. It's far more galloping, and it might be more to suit him. But I'm not 100% convinced that this track will play to his strengths.
I'm taking a shot with time frame at 20-1. By Not This Time, Mark Cassidy runner. Who do you like in the summer?
Yeah, I'm going in with one at a price as well. Marcus J, I think, could run well.
Very legitimate.
Again, I spoke to Kevin Attard yesterday, and he was pretty happy with Marcus J. I think more long-term than anything else. Maybe he doesn't win today, but maybe he proves to be one of the better horses from this race. Start of next year, something like that. But he was good on to Peter on his first start. He jumped to the front. Pietro Moran got a good tune out of him, and he just quick and clear, and he lengthened and lengthened again. Turf, it really shouldn't be much of a problem for him. I don't see any issue with that. I'm fascinated to see how the track is going to play today, because for quite some time here at Woodbine, we've had a bit of a speed or pace bias where you jump on the front end. That's a big help. Maybe with better horses coming into town and into the graded races, we might not see that as much because they're able to quicken from the back of the field. But Marcus J, I do think, is a big player, and you're going to get a good price on him as well. Yeah,
we were kind of right on your tails on the backs. We were trading interviews, and we also talked to Kevin and Pietro Moran, and I dropped in the replay of this race on one of those interviews, which will be coming up a little bit later. That was a good-looking debut for Marcus J. And if folks are worried about having the Apprentice on board, and obviously in the stake you don't get the allowance, Pietro's the leading rider at the meet. So
Pietro's cool as well. Like, he's a really cool dude. We both interviewed him yesterday. He speaks well. He knows, for a young guy, he knows so much about horse racing. We saw him put in an incredible ride to win the King's Plate. I've got no issues with Pietro.
That's Eddie. And I asked him, what's it like to ride against your dad? He said, it's good. It's a lot of fun. Even better if I win. And so, I like that too. The competitive spirit is there. All right. And finally, the Natalma, again, European runner in here and Dance to the Music for the aforementioned Charlie Appleby. And we'll take a look at the last race for Dance to the Music. The win at Newmarket, just gets the win there, but makes the record 2 for 2 coming into the Natalma this afternoon. Your thoughts on Dance to the Music?
I prefer her to Wild Desert regards to chances, but I'm still taking her on. Again, I still feel that Charlie Appleby does use his 2-year-olds at Woodbine just to get a feeler of where he is with his other horses. And I don't think this is one of the top horses that he's got. Say the Godolphin guys the other day were asking what we thought chances-wise. They think they've both got real solid chances. The 2 efforts over in England so far have been good. You can't really crab anything that she's done. However, this is going to demand a big step forward. Yes, Godolphin have got 3 runners on the card, and if 2 of them won, it wouldn't be a big shock. But I think it's probably more realistic they get 1 with Notable Speech.
And I took a little shot in here, not really a shot, Deep Learning. I say I'm taking a shot because a number of the turf races today, I went with outside horses, and I may regret that. So we'll see how that works for me. But Chad Brown and Klarovich come in with Deep Learning off a really good-looking debut, went up at Saratoga, so I went there. We'll have to overcome the outside post position. But overall, what are your thoughts on the Natalma?
Finally, we agree. We agree on one. I think Deep Learning's the horse to take. Back home, the markets are kind of skewed towards the Godolphin horse, and Deep Learning can get like 4-1, 9-2. I think that's a great price if that's available closer to post time. He was very good on the first start, managed to quicken away nicely. Still looked green as well throughout, was quite erratic in the closing stages. But Flavio Pratt's in town for the big day. He's taking the ride. And I know it's kind of a cardinal sin in the Chad Brown doesn't have winners at Woodbine. It's been 2 years, 0 from 11 in that 2-year span since his last Woodbine winner. But Deep Learning is a very good horse. I think he's going to take a step forward. It's just how much of a step, because going from Maiden Company into this sort of race, it's always going to be a tough ask. However, it's a Saratoga maiden going into this sort of race. You're not backing up from a more local contest. And just one to watch for the future. I think Star Attraction's a lot better than we've seen so far. It was soft turf last time around. She made a big move into the race where you were thinking, oh, this is a good horse. And then the second she was asked to quicken, it just didn't really happen for her. There was a bit of wheel spin. It was like watching Scooby-Doo run. The legs were going, but she was going nowhere. She managed to get the job done ultimately. Kevin Attard was saying after the race that he was quite disappointed with how the race, how she actually went through the race. So maybe not for today. I will include her on my pick 5 tickets just in case we get a big winner and that helps out. But I think she's a horse that we're winning a few races in the near future here at Woodbine.
I'm stealing Scooby-Doo too.
I like using that one. That's one of my favorite ones as well. Wheel spin. You go in nowhere.
I said earlier, Dixie Law is going to be fun to root for because when we separated, we went over to the barn of Dale DeRusso, who this is his first graded entrant. Not much less grade 1 and a win and you're in off a debut effort that was pretty good looking. Corsia Veloce, we also both interviewed Josie Carroll. I think that one being undefeated. And that last victory was kind of gutsy. The runner-up, Sweet Fusion, actually went by fairly late, but Corsia Veloce put in a good, it's a fun, both of the 2-year-old races, I think you can make a case for a bunch of them in here. They're a lot of fun. But again, they will be part of that international pick 5, which will include the St. Ledger and the Irish champion. So hopefully we gave you some good European looks at the various races, both here and overseas, with Luke Elder for Sky Sports. And again, it was fun to kind of bounce around the backstretch with you yesterday. And we said, come on over. And so we're happy you had the chance.
Absolutely. No, delighted. Thank you guys for having me. Love being here at Woodbine. If you haven't been to Woodbine, you get the chance to absolutely take it up. This is a fantastic meeting today. They've looked after us in exemplary fashion and couldn't recommend it enough.
I say exactly the same thing all the time. From where we are in upstate New York, you hop on the thruway, it's all highway, you take a right at Buffalo and you're right up here and it's great racing and they treat you well. So highly recommended to pop on up. They have another big stakes day coming up a little bit later on as well. Maybe mark that on the calendar. Luke, appreciate it.
No, appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me, and hopefully we've given you 5 winners, 6 winners. We'll see. We'll just take one.
Exactly. All you need is one if it's the right one. All right, we'll take a break. Oh, and go Seahawks.
Good Hawks.
Yeah, I'll say that on behalf of you.
We got the Steelers this week. Take down DK Metcalf.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, again, we bounced around the backstretch yesterday, got some good taped interviews, so we'll tee those up when we come back. Stay tuned.
코리아컵 출발합니다.
이 순간을 위해 여기까지 달려왔다. 이제 내일을 향해 뛴다.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The The racetrack industry program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the racetrack industry program can put you in the winner's circle.
Welcome back to Racing Across North America, as we are live from Woodbine, and happy to be here. Again, they treat us very well up here, and it's been a number of years now we've been coming up. Obviously, they treat us well. We're in their studio. How can you beat that? But as I say, happy to be here on a big day, Woodbine Mile Day. So tee it up this afternoon, watch all afternoon and into the evening on the network. And again, take a look at that International Pick 5. Should be a lot of fun. But as I say, we were around yesterday, but we arrived Thursday. We drove up and got in late Thursday afternoon, enjoyed some nice kind of twilight racing, gorgeous night on Thursday. Yesterday too. Yesterday was night racing essentially, and it was a nice night as well. We'd be sitting outside and watching the races up here at Woodbine. But today, a more traditional afternoon card that again will kick off, I believe, a little after 1:05 today. So enjoy all the action that will include the Woodbine Mile, the Summer, the Dalma, Win and You're In. Again, I wore my Breeders' Cup tie in honor of the Win and You're In races. But again, we got here Thursday afternoon. We do that typically when we make these trips, get here a little bit early so we can spend one day just kind of bouncing around backstretch or maybe the winner's circle of the paddock, wherever we need to go to get some of the interviews. And obviously, one of the leading trainers up here is Kevin Attard, who has a number of really nice runners coming up today. Gas me up in the Woodbine Mile, in the 2-year-old races, Marcus J, Bill of Ice, 2-Out Hero, Wild Pansy, the interesting runner in the Matron. He won the King's Plate with Manzetti, and then Tuesday, just this past Tuesday, top of the stretch, it looked like Manzetti was going to get the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown and just got caught late. So we talk a little bit about that as well. Just that had to be a disappointing loss. But Kevin Attard, again, going through essentially the runners he has, the number of runners he has that are live today on this great stakes card right up here at Woodbine, including Gas Me Up in the Woodbine Mile. So up next, it is trainer Kevin Attard.
A little bit about Saturday, Woodbine Mile. You have Gas Me Up coming. Started a career in Southern California. How do you wind up in your barn?
He came here with the hopes of kind of running into the Queen's Plate, King's Plate at the time, 3-year-old Canadian bred. So we were excited to get him here. Unfortunately, we kind of ran into an issue with him that required some time off, and he had to get sidelined. So was lucky to kind of get him back the following year and won first time out. And then again, another little hiccup that required some more time off. So the owners have been very patient with him, done the right thing by him, and he's rewarding them.
Yeah, you have to feel good. You're coming in off the lifetime best buyer. What are your expectations on Saturday?
You know, the horse is improving all the time. I think he's at the peak of his game right now. I love the way he breezed last week. I think he's just getting better, and I'm excited to see him run.
Flavien Prat was on board last time, back on board again today. Did you reach out to Flavien for the ride last time?
Yes, we did. I knew he was coming into town, and it kind of worked out where he was opening that race. So and lucky to have him again today.
Let's hit on some of your other runners on Saturday in the Summer. You have 3 of them scheduled: 2-Out Hero, Bill of Ice, Marcus J. Bill of Ice and Marcus J coming off of debut wins. And so that's 2-year-old racing these days, but it's a win and you're in. Give us some thoughts on your runners in the Summer.
You know, 3 good colts there. They've all done everything right to this point. You know, Marcus J was pretty impressive first time out over the synthetic, one going away. I really liked the style he did. He was kind of relaxed early and then just kind of opened up on the field. Bill of Ice ran 2 turns first time out on the inner turf, so I think that's going to be a big advantage for him. And he was really professional, just kind of waited down the stretch. He kind of switched off to his right lead and just really took off. So hoping to see a little bit more improvement in him, and I think he can take a big step forward. And then you've got 2-Out Hero. You know, he's 2 for 2, colt that's shown a lot of talent and promise, and he's run to his works.
For Al Gold Square Racing, Al from down in Saratoga. In the matron, Wild Pansy to me is interesting, or a Poli runner that I had to look it up. I was making a guess, but a European import and bought last year at a sale over in Europe at the end of the season. What's the story on Wild Pansy?
Nice mare. She's been working really well. Excited to kind of get her to the races. Been really happy with the way she's trained up here, and think she's going to be a great addition.
Caitlin, her greatness, winner of the King's Plate, and this year kind of going back and forth. Good effort, maybe not such a good effort. Bang, bang, bang. What do you expect for coming out of a fifth in the EP Taylor last time?
Yeah, I think a mile and a quarter is probably a little bit beyond what she really wants. I think cutting back now to the mile 16 is just going to be right up her wheelhouse. I thought she worked phenomenal last weekend, and she's been an honest horse. And this is the right kind of, I think, competition for her, the right distance. She's really good on the synthetic surface to boot. So all signs are pointing to a big performance from her.
Fashionably Fab won the race last year and seems to be coming in improving form. A series of improving buyers over the last three. Fashionably Fab.
I agree. I think she's doing that exactly. Thought her last race was a big step in the right direction. She's worked really well, kind of heading into this spot as well. So I'm expecting her to kind of bounce back. I believe she won this race last year, so we're looking to defend the crown with her.
Very good. And then Natalma, Star Attraction, broke the maiden in the last start. You also have Dinah in there, who was third in the Catch a Glimpse in the last start. And La Colas, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, I believe that's the way
Coming
to say
close.
it. Yeah.
But third in the debut effort. Talk about your runners in the Natalma.
Yeah, so La Colas, I thought she was a little bit short for her first race, and she kind of ran to the way I kind of figured. She's come back and worked really impressively, and that's why we've supplemented her here. The owners wanted to take a shot on it. It's obviously a grade one in your own backyard. So I expect her to make a big leap forward. Dinah's a maiden that we have really high expectations on. Was a little disappointed in her race in the Catch a Glimpse, but I really think now stretching out to 2 turns, going a mile is just exactly what she needs.
She had a good number there, but an 80 buyer.
She did, but I was still expecting a little bit more from her. So I really just think now that the fact that she's going long, 2 turns, that's what her pedigree suggests, right? So we're excited to kind of see her in this spot. And Star Attraction, obviously a sentimental horse in the sense I trained the mom. She's another horse that's continued to kind of get better. The more distance, I think, with her is going to obviously be very beneficial as well. And, her mother kind of got better as she got older, and I think this filly's going to do the same.
Is that, as you say, sentimental? Is that fun to, get the next generation of runners?
Absolutely. Even though it was a maiden win, it meant a lot to me, and the fact that her mother was here in this barn on this circuit, on that turf course to boot, and a multiple grade 1 winner. She just did so much for my career, and just to see one of her offspring here and back in the stable, it's just so special, and really think the connections for sending her this way.
You talk about the turf course and whatnot. Is the difference this year, because the main turf course is closed with the rehabilitation going on, is that changing any of your plans?
Oh, listen, I think it's a complete different race for us now, in a sense, right? It being 2 turns, it's more of the traditional sense, and when you go into these Breeders' Cup events, right? So definitely post position, I think, is going to play a pivotal role, and getting the right type of trip. So especially for the younger horses, a lot of them are going to be experiencing 2 turns for the first time to boot. So it's going to be tricky. Some of them might have problems navigating that first turn. So that's why I think, trying to save some ground and maybe staying out of traffic is going to be very important.
We're going to get a chance to talk to Pietro in a minute, Pietro Moran. You use him a lot, an apprentice jockey, certainly making a name for himself. And as I say, you use him a lot. Give us your impressions of an up-and-coming apprentice.
Yeah, even though he's an apprentice, he's rode in the bigger races, obviously win the King's Plate for us as well. A kid that's mature beyond his years, in a sense, has a very high horse IQ, and he's just really a natural talent on a horse. He worked for the stable for about 3-4 years before he actually pulled out his license. So we've got to kind of grow along with him in a sense and see him mature and develop. And I'm just so happy for him because not only is he a great rider, but he's a great human, and he deserves all the success he's getting.
You mentioned the King's Plate before we let you go. Just talk about that performance. And last week, it was tough over Fort Erie.
It was a tough beat. A horse ran really well. It just, you're kind of going for that Triple Crown bid. He looked like a winner. And just those last maybe 140 yards, he just kind of tired on us. But the horse has accomplished so much this season. That's not going to spoil what he's done this season. And we're really excited, obviously, to have him here. We're freshening him up a little bit now. And look to shoot for the Ontario Derby next with him. So he's, from this point forward, I think what he does this season is just icing on the cake.
I was going to say frosting on the cake,
That's
but
it,
icing words. Yeah, no, it's been a great season. Thanks a lot for taking the time. We know it's a busy time, but good luck on Saturday.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
And again, thanks to Kevin Attard for taking the time. We caught up with him yesterday. Gorgeous morning on the backstretch yesterday, as you could kind of see. We also have Pietro Moran and an interview with Dale DeRusso, who, again, interesting story with this first graded stakes entrant coming up in the Natalma. But we have time before we wrap up the show. We'll show those two interviews after we wrap up. But in the meantime, we have a couple of minutes left, so we'll put in Josie Carroll. She has Corsia Veloce coming up in the Natalma, so we'll talk a little bit about that one coming up next with Josie Carroll.
So what does this do then? Earlier, what does it mean?
Fast lane.
So suitably named off of an undefeated season so far. Wins the debut early in July with a 58 buyer, then moves into Stakes Company and wins the Catch a Glimpse and 85 buyer. That's a pretty good jump in the buyer number. Talk a little bit about the improvement, start 1 to start 2.
I really didn't foresee that coming. I thought she'd run a big race. The number she ran was obviously unexpected, but the way she ran was not.
Are you a believer in the numbers?
I guess I'm tend more to play with the rags, but
okay. So you do use numbers, maybe just not necessarily buyers.
Yeah, in some circumstances, this was a change of distance, change of surface. Yeah. There were a lot of factors in play, how it was playing on the day. So really not sure what it means.
You say change of surface, started on the synthetic for that debut win and then moved to the turf last time. Was the turf the plan for this horse right from the beginning?
No.
Okay.
No, she broke her maiden. Really at that time of year, there wasn't going to be a non-winners of 2 option coming up. The stake was primarily horses that were in her same category. Yeah. So it certainly looked like we should take a try, and there was no reason not to think she'd grass.
How'd she progress since the race?
She's just a tough nut of a little filly that from the very beginning, she's just been competitive. But I would say off of that last race, the final breeze for this, I expected a good work from her, and she even turned my head. She worked so well.
And it's always a question in these kind of situations. But first race 5.5, second race 6.5, now stretches to the mile. Concerns, or you think it's in her wheelhouse?
Perhaps less concerned on this tighter inner course. Our big outer course where we usually, the 1.5 mile course where we usually run this race, that's such a long stretch, especially for a baby. Yeah. I think it can be very intimidating to them, but I think this will perhaps benefit us a little bit.
Very good. Well, we wish you a lot of good luck on Saturday in the Natalma.
Thank you so much.
Go. And again, also thanks to Josie Carroll for taking the time. Always busy coming into a stakes weekend, but we enjoyed talking with her about the undefeated Corsia Veloce. We had to wake up to get in. We had some nice shots of her, the runner Corsia Veloce, but we had to wake her. She was getting a little pre-stakes race rest in the stall yesterday. But again, thanks to Josie. All right, we'll wrap it up here because I think I saw Jeff standing in the green room. We got to vacate the Woodbine studio. Jeff and Elise and team will come in for some pregame and obviously pre-race commentary throughout the day up here at Woodbine. But we appreciate the Woodbine folks allowing us to use their studio this morning for a little handicapping and racing across North America as well. We are live from Woodbine. Hopefully we'll have some cut-ins this afternoon, but we will definitely be back tomorrow. 8:30 handicapper support, about 9:15 for Racing Across America. We'll have some recap action and a little handicapping on the Sunday card coming up tomorrow, so tune in for that. Otherwise, don't forget the International Pick 5. Enjoy the racing this afternoon. And again, we will wrap it up here for Racing Across America and our morning here live from the Woodbine studio. Fun afternoon ahead with great racing. So keep it all in mind. And again, we'll be back tomorrow morning. Same location and same time, 8:30 tomorrow. So we'll see you then.
We're out here in the morning. You're an apprentice. I assume in the morning you're getting on a lot of mounts just to get your name out there.
Yeah, we're trying to keep busy, work hard, and just trying to get some business.
Give us a little of your background. We know your dad's a jockey, so I guess this was in your mind right from the beginning. Just take us through the process that got you here now to Woodbine, sitting on horses in the afternoon.
Yeah, right from the start, I always wanted to be a jockey. I always loved the horses, loved watching racing, especially my dad. I learned to ride and went to a lot of riding schools and got on race horses, retired ones, babies, you name any sort of horse, and just got the experience. And eventually I started riding out here in the mornings and slowly just got the experience working horses and it just came about.
Where'd you go to riding school?
I started in Ireland in a riding school, and then and then when we moved here, I went to riding school, and then actually a farm of a friend of ours named April LeBlanc, she got us go, me and my siblings, and just rode horses all day and helped take care of them.
As I understand it, as they say, your dad's a jockey, and as I understand it, you have plenty of siblings. So how many of them are involved in the racing game?
I mean, all of us, my siblings, the whole family loves the horses, love the racing. Always root us on. My older brother's also riding out here, and a few younger sisters that love riding. So you never know what happens from here now.
What's it like riding against your dad?
It's exciting. I mean, something you don't see every day.
Yeah.
And it's an honor. I mean, all these years watching him, and now to be able to ride against him, and it's pretty special, especially when you beat him.
I like that. You're having a great season. Talk a little about this year up at Woodbine.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, coming off an injury last year, all the owners and trainers have been very supportive, giving me the opportunities. So I thank them for that. My agent Tom does a great job, it's just been good. It's been just getting the opportunities, and the horse have been running very well, and I can't complain.
How much longer do you have the bug?
Till early January.
Okay, and what do you have plans for the winter?
Yeah, I plan on going somewhere in the States this winter. I haven't decided whereabouts just yet, but I'm excited to expand.
We'll look for you down there, certainly. Let's just talk a little bit about coming up. You're named on a couple in the summer, right? Is there a decision made there?
Yeah, I'll be on Marcus J in the summer stakes. It's just, I think I was always meant to ride him. He just double named.
Fashionably Fab in the matron, I believe last year's winner. What do you think of Fashionably Fab?
Yeah, she seems to be coming around this year. She took her a little longer to come into form this year, but she's just a classy old mare. Knows how to run, knows how to win. Last year she had a phenomenal year, and she ran a great race last time out, so including winning this race last year. So I think she should be right up her alley.
And in the Talma Star Attraction?
Yeah, she's improving every start. I think the older she gets, the better.
That's what that's what Kevin said as well.
Yeah, so I think just like her mom, she got better, she got older. So I think the firm ground, the extra distance, it's all a bonus for her.
Winning you're in, that'd be okay, right?
That'd be pretty nice.
And let me ask you before I let you go, do you have any kind of race you prefer? Sprints, turf?
I definitely love the longer races.
Okay.
I feel like it's more of a race and no more tactics. The turf is always a lot of fun to ride, and yeah, I love the turf too. So
You talk about tactics, and I ask, when we're down at Saratoga and I have apprentice jocks or even journeyman jocks, I ask them about the beginning of their career. Talk a little bit about learning. I mean, the tactics must be a real learning experience, part of the game.
yeah, I mean, you never stop learning in this game, but obviously I try to learn as much as I can every day.
Doing a little bio information last night, and I found it interesting. Started out on the employment side of things, owning a pizza shop. Talk a little bit about how you became an owner at 18 of a pizza shop, and then how you progressed to becoming a trainer.
Yeah, so my parents always had a couple horses, played around with the horses when I was younger, so I always was involved a little bit in the business. It wasn't really a business I really wanted to go into. It's a tough business, so you try to better yourself every year or whatever. So during high school, I was running a pizza place while I was going to high school, and didn't really know what I wanted to do. So the guy that owned that one, he said, "Well, you're doing a great job running this one. Why don't we open one up in your little hometown?" And that's how that got started. And, ran that for, I think it was about 8 months, I guess. And a bigger company bought me out, and then I got back involved in the horses.
So the pizza was okay if they bought you out?
Yeah, I was doing well. In hindsight, I probably should have kept it, but.
So then talk about transitioning to, how'd you become a horse racing fan, get involved in the game?
Yeah, so like I said, my parents always had a couple horses, so I've always, been involved. The excitement was always there. But it's tough industry to make it, and tough to make a living, and tough on the family life. So it wasn't something I was totally keen on going in when I was younger, but the excitement, the attraction got me back into it after I sold the pizza place and got involved. I started out, working for trainers, and had one or two of my own, and just learned the game and learned how to do things, and progressively got to where I'm at now.
You talk about family and whatnot. Again, reading bio information, seems like maybe your wife was involved with the game too.
Yeah, so her family, her dad trains horses as well, so she's been around the game at all. It kind of makes it a little easier to understand the concept of it, and always being away and stuff. So
let's talk a little bit about Natalma, Dixie Law. By Tis the Law, like that, we're down in the Saratoga area. We know Jack Knowlton from Tis the Law fame, certainly. So a nice Tis the Law runner. He's been a great sire so far. Debut win, 62 buyer, was the 5-2 favorite. Given the fact that the horse went off as the favorite, what were your expectations? What were your expectations for the debut?
Yeah, I mean, she was breezing really well going into the race. She had one breeze in 58 on the grass course here, so she was touting herself that she was decent. The one benefit of her, and I think makes her, maybe better than the average horse, is her mind. She's really, really great minded. Can do whatever you want. If you want her to breeze in 105, she'll breeze in 105 and be happy to do it. And she breezed that day in 58, and it was like nothing for her. She recuperates really, really well after breezes. So hopefully we can get going this weekend. I mean, we missed the Catch the Glimpse. We were supposed to go to the Catch the Glimpse. She got a little sick on me on entry day, actually, so we had to miss that race. Ideally, it would be nice to have that race going into this one, but she's breezed really well in the interim, and I think we're good to go.
So again, you missed the race, and do you work any differently in the morning given that situation?
Yeah, I mean, coming off the 3/4, her last couple of breezes, we've galloped out pretty much a mile and put a little bit more foundation to her. Even her breezes previous to when she was running, she's always really galloped out really well. I've told the owners all along, I think the longer the better for her. Hopefully the mile will be right up her alley, but even going into the future, I think next year as a 3-year-old, when we get to the 2-turn races and stuff like that, I think she's really going to excel in those.
And from what I read, this is your first grade one?
Yeah. I mean, being smaller and being at Woodbine, there's not too many opportunities for those grade ones, but this will be my first graded race, not even just grade one. Yeah.
Not just a grade one, it's a win and you're in.
Yeah, exactly. It would be a dream come true for sure. Yeah. I mean, luckily Woodbine's partnered with the Breeders' Cup, and we have these opportunities here, and it'd be a dream.
It's great to meet you. And again, I wanted to touch base because they wrote a nice story about you on the website. And then again, I picked up the pizza side of things and whatnot, but really rooting for you on Saturday. So good luck going forward.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We'd like to thank Woodbine for their sponsorship of this program and some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB. Woodbine open now through December, featuring great racing, including the King's Plate coming up in August, Turf Champions Day with the Woodbine Mile in September, and much, much more. Woodbine Racing, great racing north of the border.
You're watching OTB TV. a service of Capital Off Track Betting.